What's up, guys? Okay, we're live on air. This is Kamikaze Fox coming to you from the SRL League. This is round 8 of the 2017 SRL Season 3 Formula 1 season here on the PS4 platform. This is round 8, the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest. And if you were joining us before we had some internet issues, we're back. We're waiting on some drivers to load up. So we'll take a look at the driver grid here. We're going to have 13 drivers today. Sandro Julius in the factory Ferrari. Joe FY, not 100% who that is, but he'll be driving the Force India. Jesper will be starting in his third race with the Haas Formula 1 team after taking over for Samuel Brandt, who retired earlier in the season. This will be Jesper's third race. He's got one pole that he scored last time out at Monza. Cameron Weston Edwards will be in the Sauber, Alexito Benarichetti in the Red Bull, and Bart Cotelde in the Red Bull. VY Gaming will be in the other Haas. And hopefully we won't have any internet connections this time out. With any issues, I should say, with the internet connection. Talk of the town right now is Killian Brady, who is on a qualifying ban this race after some aggressive driving in round 7 at Monza. Brady had gone into turn 1 at the start of the last Grand Prix a little too aggressively. Jesper started on pole, but Brady took Jesper out heading into the chicane at the end of the front stretch of Monza. Caused quite the calamity at the beginning of that lap. Jesper dropped to the back of the field. Brady had gone on to win the race, but got a qualifying ban, so it'll definitely be interesting to see Brady starting from the rear of the field, how far he can work his way in. Also nipping at his heels all season has been Bart Cotelde, so it'll be interesting to see where Bart qualifies and finishes to see if he can close that championship gap. So with Brady sitting out, Brady's got 2 poles this year. But Cotelda's really been the man on fire when it comes to qualifying. He's got 4 poles this year. We'll see if he can set himself up with another one. It'll be interesting to see if Bart can start at the front, Brady all the way in the back, and see what happens there with the championship point season. So a couple of other drivers. Got VY Gaming in the Haas, Ethan Croft, Colin Higgins, and Cameron Weston Edwards. Dion Stalls in the other factory Ferrari. So back, this is the 3rd season here at Hungary, and we're going to do a 12-minute qualifying session. And back in season 1, the race was won by Force India driver Batfink, who is this season a reserve driver. We have yet to see him this year, unfortunately. But he did win the race back in season 1. Got a couple of guys heading out on their outlaps. Eden Newman had started on pole back in season 1, but lost it on a bad start. Batfink went on to win the race, just a second in front of Samuel Brandt. Back in season 2, though, there was a little bit more drama. Francis McGinn, who's driving the factory Honda this year, he lost internet connection about halfway through the race and gave up the lead, and then the same thing had happened to Sandro a couple of laps later. So Alex Benarichetti went on to win that race for the McLaren, but there was a 4-car pile-up behind. So that was season 2. So we're here for season 3. And we're taking a look here at Benarichetti in the Red Bull. Looks like he was the first one out. Got a lot of guys out on the outlap this time. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen here in this 12-minute qualifying session. Benarichetti this year has finished on the podium a couple times. Had a 3rd place in Austin and a 2nd place in China. Has not made every race this year, unfortunately. He does have 1 DNF, so he's sitting mid-pack in the points this year. And it looks like Benarichetti just let his teammate go by. That's Bart Cotelde. And we'll definitely want to keep an eye on him. With Brady sitting out, all eyes are going to be on Cotelde to see if he can snag a pole position. See him putting some heat into those tires. Cotelde with the lime green helmet, dead giveaway of who's behind that car. See, he's got himself a little bit of a gap to the driver in front. And here he goes, folks. Flying lap. Let's see what kind of time Bart can put up. Good old Hungary. Track is way more complex than it looks on paper. A lot of elevation changes. This is one of the old-fashioned classic F1 tracks. You don't see tracks like this much these days with a lot of the new circuits. And Bart is, look at the rotors already glowing red heading into that corner. Got his foot down, see what he can make happen. Extremely fast through that corner, hard on the brakes. No times have been put up yet. Oh, and here we go through the chicane. A little bit of a curb hop coming through there. Cameron Weston Edwards sets the first fastest lap with a 1:20.041. But Bart is on the move, a little wide coming out of that, uses all the curve through that corner. Hard on the brakes through this little complex here. Oh, power slides are coming out of that corner. Last corner down the front stretch. Sanders sets a 1:23.81. Catalda is going to come across the line. 1:17.370. Wow, 3 seconds faster than Edwards and a second and a half over Benerichetti. So right now it's a Red Bull 1-2. Jesper in the Haas puts up a time of 1:19. Take a look at Sandro. He's yet to put up a time. He should be coming across here shortly. Ooh, power slides there through the chicane. A couple other times have come up. VY Gaming in the other Haas, 1:21.225 for 6th. Right behind him is Ethan Croft, 1:21.345. You see Sandro here in the factory Ferrari getting a little loose coming out of a lot of these corners. Uses all the curb on that exit. Sandro needs to tighten up that car a little bit. Last series of turns here. Joey F has put up a 1:24. Sandro's going to cross the line. As loose as he was, he puts up a good time. Second, he's still a second off of Catalda's time. But Sandro looking a little wild and loose through those corners, but put up a good time. We'll take a look at his teammate, who's still sitting in the pit, so that doesn't matter. Colin Higgins is retired from this session. You see the Red Bulls come in. Looks like they're going to do some minor changes to the cars. Right now you have Benerichetti in there for not a new set of tires. They're going to put them in the garage. Looks like only a couple of guys are still out on track. We'll take a look at Jesper, who put up a pole position for Monza last time out in round 7. See if he can do the same here. But Bart's time is 1.1. Oh, power slide comes out of there. That's going to cost him some time. Might have to abort this lap and try again next time around. So out on track we have Jesper, Croft, and Joe. Everybody else is in the pits. 5 minutes to play in this session. And it looks like Jesper is going to head into the pits towards that lap. So Joe's out in the Sahara Force India. So far has a time good enough for 7th place. And he too is going to head into the pits. That's going to leave the only one out on track is Ethan Croft. He's obviously heading very slow. He will not be doing a hot lap. But we do have a couple of guys back out on course doing some out laps. We'll take a look at Cameron Weston Edwards. Sounds like he's trying to put some heat in those tires. Here we go. Looks like he's getting ready for a hot lap. Oh, you have to excuse me a little bit. I am feeling a little under the weather today. Edwards is still trying to put some heat into those tires. So we got a lot of other guys out on some hot laps. We'll take a look at Sandro. Now he is definitely on the move. See if he can pick up any more time. Bart Catelda is still sitting in the pits, and honestly, with the time that he's had at a 1:17.3, he could probably stay there. I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch that time. Sandro is going to try. So he's going to start a flying lap. Hope for the best. Through the turn 1 complex. A little run down the hill. He's got another car behind him. A little too close for comfort on these qualifying laps. Got a caution in sector 2. Not sure who that might be. Oh, runs a little wide there. Oh, and he loses it. That's going to cost him time. That's probably going to end up being an aborted lap. We'll see if he comes across. Looks like he's still got his foot to the ground. Oh, a little tail happy there coming out of that corner. So Sandro isn't short on pushing the vehicle at all. But his car seems still a little loose. Might have an old Schumacher setup on that car. Schumacher used to love his cars loose. Sandro seems to be the same type of driver. Likes a little bit of oversteer built into the car. He's going to come across the line, and it doesn't look like he's going to improve his time at all. Oh, and Benerichetti, looks like he improves his time. He's going to take over the second place, and now it's a Red Bull 1-2. As he ran a few hundredths of a second faster than Sandro on his best lap. Take a look back at Jesper, who had a pole position in Monza last time out. See if he can improve on his time at all. He's currently 4th. And Jesper improves his time, but not his position. 1:18.7 for him. Next driver would be Sander in the Williams. Oh, very loose coming out of that corner. Almost a little bit of a tank slapper there coming through that corner. Oh, and very wide on the exit of that corner. That's going to cost him some time. And he has aborted this lap and this session. So with only a few seconds to go, it looks like this is going to be your starting grid. You're going to have Bart Catelda, pole position. Sandro managed to work his way back into second to split the Red Bulls. So it'll be Sandro and then Benerichetti starting third, Jesper 4th. Sander in the Williams that we're watching now 5th. Cameron Weston Edwards 6th. Joey 7th, VY Gaming and the other Haas 8th, Ethan Croft 9th. Dion Stahl did not put up a time, nor did Killian Brady due to a qualifying ban, or Colin Higgins. So, this is what we were looking for, folks. Catelda starting in front, Brady starting in back, your championship points leader in the back of the field, the man nipping at his heels all year, starting in second. And Brady's obviously been on fire this year. I mean, he's had 2 poles this year, but ultimately, Killian Brady has the 5 wins. He's basically 6 for 6 this year. When it comes to racing, he's been in 6 races of the 7 rounds. He's got 5 wins. He's got 1 third place finish. And no DNFs, which is a big part here. So we continue to wait for this session to wind down. Gatelda's got 4 poles this year. This will make his 5th pole position. But he's only got 2 wins. Bart Gatelda was a reserve driver at the beginning of the season, but managed to get a full-time ride after round 4 in China because he was doing such a good job for the Red Bull team. And he's the only one that's really been able to give Killian Brady a run for his money so far this year. Now, Francis McGinn, who has not joined us today, is Killian's teammate. Killian probably could have used a little bit of help today. Francis McGinn is also 3rd in the points, so this is going to kind of help him in the hurt him in the points battle. McGinn's 3rd in the points. He's finished 2nd 3 times this year. And there's been 2 McLaren 1-2 finishes this year as well, but clearly not going to happen today with McGinn out. So we're waiting for this time to wind down to get this race started. We're currently watching the AI car of Cameron Weston Edwards. He also runs in the upcoming IRL, which is the International Racing League, on the PS4 platform. That season will be starting in the next couple weeks. So he'll be running 2 leagues. And he had a 3rd place finish at Spain and a 4th at Monza. So he's been on a little bit of a tear here lately. And there's your starting grid. Killian Brady will be starting 11th in the back of the field. Bart Gatelda, 0.8 of a second faster than Sandro. So here we go, guys. Wait for this to load up. So Sandro has split the Red Bulls. We were looking at a Red Bull 1-2 starting position, but Sandro happened to split that. Sandro finished 3rd at Monza his last time out. He's got 2 DNFs this year and unfortunately missed the first race of the season. Did not have a PS4. Interesting little tidbit. Didn't have a PS4 for his own league. We're out on the outlap. So guys are out on the outlaps, warming up the tires. See Sander there in the Williams. Sander's a pretty solid finisher, usually mid-pack. He hasn't been in every single race this year. He does have a couple of DNFs. But overall, very clean racer. Usually finishes mid-pack. We've talked a little bit about Cameron Weston Edwards and what his next adventures are. Then there's VY Gaming, that is Yannick Repentin. He's coincidentally does not have a DNF this year at all. He's also had two different teammates this year. He started the season with Haas, with Samuel Brandt. Sam retired from Formula One racing a few weeks ago. And then his replacement was Jesper. So, pretty solid guy. He's had no DNFs, two different teammates. He's been able to put in some solid finishes. Good mid-pack guy. Dion Stahl did not put up a time. He's had a rough go this year. He usually finishes in the points, but it's usually in the back of the pack, somewhere in the 9th, 10th area. He's got a couple of DNFs this year. He does have one podium, but he's had a pretty rough go so far this year. So here we go. Cars are back from their warm-up lap. Lights are on. Lights out. Time to run what you brung, boys. The long run down the front stretch toward turns one. Got a lot of shuffling back in the mid-pack. Gotelda is making his way. Oh, we got a car off. Sandro dives in. Takes the second place. And it looks like Colin Higgins is having a rough go. We got a car around that might have been Sander, unfortunately. Oh, it goes wide, Higgins does. Looks like Sander's back up and running. He'll be way off the pace now. Take a look up front, and Gotelda is already starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Sandro. Benerichetti is in hot pursuit of Sandro. Oh, and Sandro goes wide there in that corner. Benerichetti all over the back of Sandro. Oh, he thought about it. He thought about it. Wise decision to not try and dive bomb there. Gotelda continues to pull a little bit of a gap. He's got 1.4 seconds over Sandro already. Benderichetti's right behind Sandro in the other Red Bull. Oh, and Sandro's going to take a little bit of a defensive line coming out of there. I think he feels the heat from Benerichetti. Meanwhile, Jesper's running fourth, and it looks like he's sitting back to see what happens here. Benerichetti way down on the inside. Big lockup. Takes the inside corner. He's going to push him wide, and he's got the position. Nice move by Benerichetti. It's now a Red Bull 1-2. Another lockup heading to that corner. Doesn't look like Sandro's done in pursuit. Oh, Sandro thought about it. He wants his position back. Got a great battle going on for second here. Sandro down to the inside, thought twice. Runs wide there a little bit. Slides coming out of that corner, and now Sandro looks like he's starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Jesper in the Haas. And right behind Haas, we have Killian Brady, who is already up to 5th place in a lap and a half after starting in 12th. See Killian Brady here in the McLaren, and he has already caught Sandro and Jesper 2 cars in front of him, and he's back on the podium. Meanwhile, Gotelda continues to pull out. His lead is up to 2.8 seconds lead over his teammate, Alexander Benerichetti. And Gotelda just ran the fastest lap at a 1:21.3. Brady now thinking about, going to dive down to the inside. He's got one car. He's going in for another. Oh, trying to pick up 2 positions at once. Sandro runs wide. Jesper gets around Sandro. So now Jesper's up to 3rd, Sandro 4th. Brady's still 5th after trying to make a bold move heading into that corner. And it honestly looks like Jesper and Sandro are holding up Killian Brady just a little bit. The man is so fast. Brady all over the back of Sandro now. Ooh, trying to get a run down to the inside. Thought about it, comes back. Tucks back in line. Oh, but he makes a dive in for the chicane. Oh, and they almost touch wheels. There may have been a little wing contact. Oh, Sandro! Oh, my goodness! Power slides coming out of that corner. catches the front of Brady. Brady loses control a little bit. Brady gathers it back up. Sandro lost the back end of that car coming out of that corner, swung across the racetrack, pushed Brady off. It was a complete accident. Brady gathers it back up. He's back in pursuit of Sandro. Sandro's car is very tail happy. Saw a lot of that in qualifying, seeing a lot of it here in the first couple laps of this race. Brady's got a good run coming out of that corner now. DRS is open. He's easily going to take the position from Sandro. Pushes him wide just a little bit. Sandro's not completely done there, but I think Brady's next target is easily going to be Jesper in the Haas. Cataldo, meanwhile, has pulled out to 4.1 seconds over his teammate. Ultimately, he's about 5.5 seconds over Brady. That's really the fight that we're watching. Brady continues to try and reel in his next target. Sandro has now dropped back to 5th after that exchange. We will stick with Brady, as Brady is only a half a second behind Jesper for the 4th position. Oh, Brady dives in deep, made up a lot of time. He's definitely going to be in DRS range. So Brady gets another good run coming out of that last corner. DRS slot's going to be open. And KB just ran the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.043. Dives down to the inside of Jesper, easily takes that position. And now it will definitely be interesting to see how much Benerichetti tries to hold up Brady in this championship fight. Because Cataldo's going to need all the help he can get from his teammate right now. The gap back to Benerichetti is 4.8. And Brady is about 0.8 of a second behind that. So overall, Brady's about 5.7 seconds away from Cataldo. But he is closing the gap to his teammate Benerichetti. The gap is down to 0.6 of a second. Goes wide coming out of that corner. Foot to the floor. An amazing run by Brady here. Brady's closing the gap. He's within a half a second now. He's definitely going to be in DRS range. We'll see how much. We'll see if Benerichetti takes a defensive line heading down to turn 1, try and block Brady from taking that position. Very tight through the corner. And Benerichetti is taking a little bit of a defensive line. Going to make Brady go around the outside, take a long way around. Able to hold him up a little bit. Brady's going to try the crossover. And now Brady's on the outside. Oh, and it's close. They're locking him up, banging wheels. Down through the corner. Brady gets pushed wide into the grass. Doesn't slow him down a bit. He's still right there. Unbelievable car control. This is exactly what Cataldo needs right now. He needs Benerichetti to hold up Brady if he wants to try and close this gap in the points championship. Oh, through the 1-2 chicane there, a little left, right, left. Oh, and now Brady's on the inside. Oh, gets pushed wide by Benerichetti. Doesn't give up, foot to the floor. Hard racing here for the second place position. Meanwhile, while these two are fighting off Benerichetti in the grass, Jesper's actually managed to close the gap up to Brady. Benerichetti goes way wide. Brady's easily going to take that position. And now Benerichetti's off and lost the position. So Benerichetti too much, dropped his left side wheels onto the grass. Looks like he lost some grip and gave up 2 positions. So now Killian Brady is in second place, 7.7 seconds behind Bart Cataldo, and that is the championship points battle, 1-2 right there. Jesper right now is a second behind Brady. Be interesting to see if he can close the gap to Brady. Jesper showed a lot of speed at Monza last time out when he started on pole. But it looks like Brady is off to the races. He's already pulled out 1.2 seconds over Jesper. Richetti trying to close the gap back up to Jesper as we speak. This is your closest battle on track, is second, third, and fourth here. We could take a look back at Yannick Verpetten in the other Haas. He's on a different tire strategy, it looks like, or may have come into the pits. It looks like Jan Holmes is going to get a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That happened to him last time out as well. Take a look at Yannick here. He's going to try and go around the outside of Ethan Croft. Oh, and these two are going to bang wheels. Battle for 12th here. They're both on medium tires. And it looks like Jan Holt has left the session. Possibly an internet connection. Possibly thought this just isn't the race for me. So here's your battle for 12th. As Ethan Croft in the Sauber and... Ooh, Yannick! Oh, and they touch! He spins him and around goes Croft! That will surely get another look at the end of the race. Croft has straightened his car out. He's back and running forward. And thinks the veteran stays out of the way of Bart Catelda. I just saw a flash of a 3-second time penalty for Killian Brady come across the screen for quarter cutting. Brady is still 7.2 seconds behind Bart Catelda. So Ethan Croft gets spun by Yannick and the Haas, and I'm sure that will be looked at again at the end of the race. So here is your leader, Bart Catelda, in the Red Bull. 7.5 seconds ahead his rival this year, Killian Brady. Brady with 5 wins this year. Behind him, Jesper in the Haas. But closing the gap to Jesper is Richetti of the other Red Bull, who had quite the exchange with Killian Brady earlier on this race. A little bit of a lockup heading into that corner. And currently, this is about the closest battle on track. Take a look back at Dion Stahl, who's having a pretty solid run today. Moved his way up into 5th place. He's 8.5 seconds behind Richetti. Colin Higgins having a good solid run. 6th position. And it looks like Sander has just headed into the pit, so that's going to give everybody an extra position there. Take a look at Cameron Weston Edwards. Again, he be doing multiple leagues here in the next few weeks as he'll start his racing in the International Racing League, also on the PS4 platform. Sandro has fallen all the way back to 8th. I believe he may have come in for a pit earlier, but I'm not 100%. But he was running in the top 3 earlier before getting pushed wide in an exchange with Brady and Richetti. Taking a look at Joe in the Sahara Force India. Don't know much about this kid, but he is currently running 9th, 16 seconds behind Sandro. And Sander, not to be confused with Sandro, but Sander in the Williams just come in and out of the pits. He's out on the Super Softs again. Runs a little wide through that corner. He's running in 10th. And we've got Jesper into the pits right now. So he comes back out. And he's out onto the soft tires. So Sandro is now within a second of Cameron Weston Edwards. He'll be looking to pick up another few positions here, hopefully, throughout the course of this race. Working lap 10 of 35 in this round 8 of the SRL League here at Budapest, Hungary. You see that Sauber there. That is not a battle for position, I believe. Actually, yes, it was. Higgins is off. That was a battle for position. So Higgins lost control of his car. I wasn't sure if that was Higgins or Croft in that Sauber at the time. Sauber, Toro Rosso, I'm sorry. Cameron is in the Sauber. Higgins was in the Toro Rosso. Either way, here we go. This is the battle for 6 now after Higgins had his off. And Betterichetti, 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Not what Betterichetti needed. Looks like Sandro was almost went into the pits. Probably just got a little tail happy coming out of that corner again. So out on the front stretch. And Cameron is going to make Sandro take the long way around. Down the outside. And he's going to tuck back in. Oh, and he goes in deep on the brakes. Oh, going to push him wide. They almost bang wheels. Sandro manages to pull it off. So Edwards put up a tough fight heading into that corner, but couldn't hold back Sandro. Sandro is now up to 5th. And Betterichetti, after his stop-and-go penalty with the tire replacement, he is back to 7th position. Colin Higgins is headed into the pits. And Sandro continues to pull away. So while all this was happening, unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure what happened. Possibly a pit. But Killian Brady is your current leader with a 12.2 second lead over Bart Catelda. I imagine Bart pitted. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sorry I missed that exchange. I know that's the battle that we are supposed to be watching. So Brady, I don't believe has pitted. He is known for his very long opening stints, especially on the Ultra Softs. Or Super Softs, I'm sorry. Super Softs and Ultra Softs, he's managed to make last very long into the race on the first stint. Whatever the case may be, Catelda is cutting into the time to Brady. So I imagine this was from a pit stop. It was 12.2. It's down to 11.6. I will try to keep a better eye on that as the race continues. Dion Stahl is up to 3rd after starting in the rear of the field. He did not post a time during qualifying. Started 10th. Jesper has a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting at the end of this race. Speaking of Jesper, he is running 4th. Oh, drops the left side tires there. And closing the gap to Dion, he's about 4.1 seconds behind Dion Stahl. Sandro running 5th after his exchange with Cameron Weston Edwards. Betterichetti has come in. He's on the medium tires. He's probably going to try and make those last until the end of the race. Some guys are doing a 2-stopper, some guys are doing a 3-stopper. Betterichetti currently running 7th after coming in, getting tires, 5-second stop and go for speeding. Sander in 8th. Joe, we haven't heard a whole lot about, but he's running currently in 9th. Colin Higgins had a couple of offs this race, gave him a few positions because of it. Yannick is also on the medium tires. Good chance that he is going to try and make those last until the end of the race. But he had quite the boo-boo with Ethan Croft, and it looks like Croft is obviously going to be blue flagged. Let the Ferrari go by. Oh, he has not. And there goes the Ferrari. And Jan Holm is in the pits. Take a look back up front with Killian Brady, who is still out on these Super Softs. Too many tires, too many Pirellis. And they're going to add more to it next year. Too many tire choices. Just give me some tires and let me race. So Bart Catelda now has the gap down to Brady to 9.6. And we've got a caution in Sector 3. Looks like it might be Dion Stahl. Oh, looks like he might have had a hard time getting into the pits. Careful, he doesn't want to speed heading into there. Oh, he's going to get a wing change as well. Fresh tires, new wing. Dion Stahl is back out. He's on the red banded tires as well. He is going to drop him back into the 8th position. So that moves Jesper up into 3rd place. There he is in the Haas. And unfortunately, there are no close battles on track right now through the pit sequence. We'll take a look at Killian Brady as he heads in. That is going to give the lead up to Bart Catelda as he heads down the front stretch. We'll see how much of a gap Catelda can put on Brady. So it looks like Brady is back out and 11.1 seconds behind Catelda. We'll see if that gap shrinks or grows in the next few laps. And Joe FY's got a time penalty of 3 seconds. Multiple warnings, I'm sure, for corner cutting. So we are watching Killian Brady. He is your championship points leader. And we are watching the gap. I am watching the gap shrink. He's picked up about 0.6 of a second just on this outlap on these fresh tires. Sandro now has a 3-second time penalty as well. Take a look back at Sandro in the 4th position. We've got a caution in sector 2. It looks like that is Sander. Looks like he had a spin, gets going again. Almost took out another car trying to get his car fired up. Oh, it's very tail happy. He must have gone off, got some dirt on the tires. And he has given up a few positions here. Sander now dropped back to 10th. He doesn't head into the pits. He's going to stay out on track. Meanwhile, Colin Higgins is giving pursuit to Joey in the Sahara Force India. Higgins joined this league mid-season. He had himself an incredible wreck. I believe it was back in Melbourne in his first race where he ended up on his side. And Ethan Croft is going to pick up a time penalty now as well. Higgins is within 0.7 of a second of Joe and would like to try and keep that under a second, but Joe pulls out just a little bit there. 1.1, he's out of DRS range now. Killian Brady has just set another fastest lap at a 1:26.98. The gap to Catelda is only down to 10 seconds, though. So he picked up 0.6 of a second the first lap out, and now Higgins is all over the back of Joe. If he can just stick with him right there, he'll be within DRS range heading onto the front stretch. Watching the gap, it's within half a second now. And Higgins is there. He's all over the back of Joe. We'll see if Joe takes a defensive line heading onto the front stretch. Oh, they're both on the grass. Higgins is there. Slots open. He's going to dive down to the inside. Easily take that position. They both run it a little wide. And behind the two of them, Sander has managed to work his way back into the picture here for the battle for what could essentially be 8th position right now. So Sander has come in. Killian Brady runs another fastest lap. 1:22.94. He's cut the gap down now to 9.3 seconds back to Catelda. As we take a look at the battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Sander, it looks like he had spun earlier. He's gathered his car back up. Tires are clean. Tires got heat in them. And he's all over the back of Joe in the Sahara Force India. Oh, bold move there. Big lockup. Goes into the corner. Runs wide. Joe's thinking about a crossover. Dives back onto the inside. Nice move by Joe. Pushes Sander wide. But now Joe's run wide as well. Sander's going to take that position heading back out onto the front stretch. But now Joe's going to be in DRS range. The slot's open. And Sander's going to make him try and take a long way around heading into turn 1. Big lock up there by Sander. Crossover move by Joe. They bang wheels. And heading out of the corner. Sander is there. Oh, and they're not done touching. They both hang on to the... Oh, and no! Sander's off. Gets pushed wide into the grass. Quite the exchange from these two. So Sander drops back just a little bit, and in the midst of all of this, Colin Higgins was able to pull away while Joe and Sander fought for position. So now Higgins is in 8th place, 4 seconds ahead of Joe and Sander, and Sander's not done with this battle. Even though he went off in the grass, he managed to gather the car back up, and he's now half a second behind Joe in the Sahara Force India. So Joe is showing some prowess here in his outing. And every point counts, even though this is a battle for 10th. Yannick gets a 3-second time penalty here for corner cutting. And now these two, Sander is going to be in DRS range. Gets a little tail happy coming out of that last corner there. And Sander is in hot pursuit. The slot is open. See what happens heading down into turn 1. Oh, he's there. Goes in. Oh, Sander slides it, pushes him wide, and he's got the position. Now can he pull away from Joe? Doesn't look like Joe's done. Takes a little bit tighter line going through that corner, pushes out wide. A little understeer through that corner. And it looks like Sander is going to start to pull away. Just a quick update up on the front. Catelda is still your leader. Brady has only cut the time down now. Still hovering around 9.3, 9.4 seconds. So he hasn't closed the gap anymore. Cameron Weston Edwards is currently in the pits. And it looks like Sander is finally going to start pulling away from Joe in the Sahara Force India. So we'll take a look back up front at your current leader, Bart Catelda. The lime green helmet, there's no missing that. Your championship points leader, Killian Brady, who started in the back of the pack due to a qualifying ban, up to second place, but 9.1 seconds behind Catelda. 10 seconds behind him is going to be Jesper. Jesper has proven to be pretty fast this year, and this is his 3rd race out. It'd be nice to see him get a podium. Sandro in the factory Ferrari in 4th place. He's about 6.8 seconds behind 3rd place of Jesper. And again, very tail happy coming out of that corner O, but he's going to head into the pits. We'll stick with this pit exchange here. We'll see where he comes out in relation to Benerichetti. The pit stop delta is about 23 seconds. Benerichetti was about 21 seconds behind. So we'll see here. And there goes Benerichetti. It's going to be close, but not close enough. So Benerichetti takes over the 4th place position. And Catelda's got a 3-second time penalty. So Benerichetti is your 4th place driver now. He started in 3rd and had quite the exchange early on in the race with Sandro, and eventually what would be Killian Brady, who worked his way through the field in only a few laps. Benarachetti tried to hold him off as long as possible, but as you can see, Brady worked his way by, and Brady has currently cut the gap down to Gotelda to 8.7 seconds. And Sandro just lost another position. Oh, and he's off. This is Cameron Weston Edwards who's going by him. So Sandro came out 5th and has already lost a couple of positions. He's dropped back to 7th. He's losing more time to Edwards. He looks rather slow heading through this complex here. Possible wing damage, has a little bit of oversteer, and he is going to head back into the pits. There must have been some exchange that we've just missed, but it looks like he's got some wing damage. So Sandra, who was just in last lap, is now back in. And yeah, they're putting a front wing on the car. He's dropping back to 8th. Joe in the Sahara Force Indy heads out onto the front stretch. Sandra's going to come out behind him. And there he is. So an unfortunate series of events here for Sandro, who had a relatively good run going, has now fallen all the way back to 9th place. So back up towards the front, Gotelda has managed to open up the gap to Brady to 10.5 seconds. Not sure if Brady had a little bit of an off or if his tires are going away from him pushing the car too hard, but he is losing time. He had the gap down to about 8.8, and in the past couple laps has lost 2 seconds to Gotelda. And now Jesper is about 10, 11 seconds behind Killian Brady in the 3rd place position. 30 seconds behind him is Benarachetti. He's on the medium compound tire, big lockup heading into that quarter, and he will probably run these tires through the end of the race. Behind him is going to be Dion Stahl. Good day for him. He started in the back of the field. He's worked his way up to 5th. Cameron Weston Edwards. He's had an eventful race. Been caught in a few good battles for position. 5-second stop and go penalty real quick for Joe. So that'll help Sandro pick up. Well, Sandro's back in the pits again. And he's now on medium tires. 3 laps in a row, Sandro's come in for tires and a wing change. He's going to run the mediums to the end of the race, I hope, but Sandro's race has fallen apart in these last few laps. And he'll come out right ahead of Colin Higgins, I believe. So Sandro's race has fallen apart. And it's Ethan Croft that he came out in front of. Croft is all the way back in the 12th position. And Bart Gotelda now has a 13.3 second lead over Killian Brady. This is exactly what Gotelda needed to try and close the gap just a little bit to Killian Brady in the points championship. So it'll be interesting to see that if Killian Brady has pushed his car too hard and wore the tires out, it'll be interesting to see if Jesper can close the gap to him and all, but Jesper's in the pits. This should be his last stop of the day with 10 laps to go. And Jesper should still come out in 3rd position. It'll be close. We'll keep an eye here on Benarachetti to see where he comes out in relation to Jesper. So Benarachetti's getting ready to head back out onto the front stretch. And Jesper is leaving. Oh, plenty of time. Jesper's back down into turn 1. So Jesper's made his final stop, and he's going to make a push here in the last 10 laps. He's 29 seconds behind Killian Brady. It'll be interesting to see if he can close the gap. Brady, I think, has worn his tires out. He lost a lot of time these last few laps to Bart Catelda. Like I said, the gap was down to 8.8. The gap is now increased to 13.3, so he's lost 4 seconds in about 6 laps here. So Brady's tires are fading fast. Look at the car pushes very wide there. And we got a 3-second time penalty for Yannick in the Haas. We'll take a look back at Sandro, whose race has fallen apart, but he is trying to gather it back up. So Sandro has caught up to Joe in the Sahara Force India, and Joe has proven himself to be a little difficult to get around when he was racing with Sander, not Sandro, earlier in the race. Right now, this is your closest battle on track as we try to keep track of all the intervals. So Sandro, who made 3 pit stops in a row, finally made his choice on tires with the mediums. Had to get a wing change. He's going to make a push to the end of the race as well. Oh, Joe runs wide there, drops his left side tires in the grass a little bit, takes a very defensive line through there. And Joe, the little bit that I've seen, and Sandro goes around. Caught a little bit of the curb, and around goes Sandro, and his race continues to fall apart. Here comes Yannick in the Haas, and they collide. They finally get back going. So Sandro's race has just come apart in all capacities at this point. So Yannick is off to the races. Sandro, that may have been a collision with Jesper as opposed to Yannick, which would be a shame because Jesper was running solid in third, and yes, Jesper has to head into the pits. That wasn't Yannick at all. So an unfortunate collision with Sandro to take out the third place car. That's easily going to put Ben Ricchetti back into third place. So now the Red Bulls run 1 and 3. And that'll close the points gap huge to the Manufacturers' Championship. Red Bull to McLaren Honda, because Francis McGinn's not even in this race. Unfortunate for Jesper. And he continues to drop down the order. He's back out, but he's going to come out in 5th place. And quietly, Cameron Weston Edwards has worked his way into the 4th position. So with about 7 laps to go, a lot has happened in the last few laps. And Killian Brady is now into the pits. This should be his 3rd and final stop. Ricchetti looks like he's not going to be close enough to Brady to try and make a run at him. The pit stop delta's about 23 seconds. Brady had more than enough time over Ben Ricchetti. And Brady is back out onto the front stretch. He is going to be 43 seconds behind Bart Catelda. So even if Catelda had to... Oh, and Catelda does slide through there. A little bit of understeer going through that corner. But even if Catelda had to make another stop, with the pit stop delta being about 23 seconds, he would come out with still a 20-second lead, 20-plus second lead over Killian Brady. And it does look like Catelda is going to head into the pits. As long as he doesn't speed going into pit road, it looks like he should be good. And Sandro has a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. So Catalda comes out of the pits, and he is going to be, we'll see when it comes across the line. .38.5 seconds ahead of Killian Brady. The battle here, though, is going to be Jesper and Cameron Weston Edwards for the 4th position. And it looks like it may have been Higgins that went off to get out of the way of the battle there. Easy, Jesper. You can save that dive bomb for the end of the front stretch. So Jesper, who had his collision with Sandro, dropped back a couple of positions. It looks like he's trying to get 4th back. Edwards is going to have to make it tough to get around. Makes him work the outside. Edwards pushes him wide. This is a terrible camera angle. Edwards hangs on to the position for now. Jesper still all over the back of the gearbox of the Sauber. Dives down to the inside. It's going to try and make a run at it. They touch. They bang wheels. Jesper runs wide. Hangs on to it. Gathers it back up. We'll see if he can make up the time. He's still within half a second. Oh, and they bang wheels again. Meanwhile, Killian Brady has just run another fastest lap at 1:18. The fuel's burning off. The cars are getting lighter. Jesper working all over the back of Cameron Weston Edwards. Oh, he dives in deep there. Locked up the fronts a little bit. Oh, and he's going to go wide. See a kind of run he makes down to the front stretch. Edwards is going to make him work the outside again. Oh, he's going to try the crossover move. Can he get him coming out of the corner? Oh, they bang wheels again. A little bit of argy-bargy between these two. Edwards is going to push him wide this time. Oh, and he pushes him off into the grass. Jesper's not done. He wants that position bad. And these two are going back and forth, exchanging blows. They both run a little bit wide there. Jesper with a little bit of understeer, being in the dirty air behind the Sauber. Oh, and they bang. Jesper is pushing. Oh, and they're both going to go into the corner a little too hot. Jesper is all over the back of the gearbox of the Sauber. He needs to be careful he doesn't cause himself any wing damage and watch his race unfold. And Brady with another 3-second time penalty, pushing his car to try and make up that time. Meanwhile, Jesper is banging on the back door of Cameron Edwards. Takes a different line coming out of that corner, and he so badly wants to get to the inside portion of that track. Edwards is not going to give it to him. Edwards is going to make him run the outside again. And again, Edwards goes in deep. He's going to push him wide just a little bit. They bang wheels again. Fastest lap, Bart Catalda, 1:18.8. As we continue to watch Jesper bang on the back door of the Sauber. He's going to try the inside line, which is going to become the outside line. Runs a little bit wide. Yannick picks up another 3-second time penalty as we continue to watch this battle for 4th position. Edwards is making his car very wide, very hard for Jesper to get around. The laps are winding down, 32 of 35. Oh, and there he goes, he's off! He's into the Armco a little bit, and he's given up some time. I'm pretty sure he's got a little bit of wing damage. It was bound to happen eventually. We'll see if Jesper can gather it back up, but he was all over the back of the gearbox of the Sauber, and now he's fallen back a few car lengths. He's out of DRS range. We'll see if he can gather his composure and get back to that. Meanwhile, your leader, Bart Catelda, continues to lead with a 22-second lead over Killian Brady. 32 seconds behind him is his teammate, Alexander Benarichetti. We're watching the fourth place battle, and Jesper has caught back up to Edwards. Bangs on the back door again. And this has been the battle to watch, folks. Jesper is clearly the faster car after being off track and making up the gap again. Edwards is clearly the wider car in this scenario, though. Jesper has not been able to find a way around. We've been watching this battle for 3 or 4 laps now. And Jesper continues to struggle to try and get by Cameron West and Edwards. Oh, and he runs very wide there. That just drops him outside of the DRS range. And he runs very wide again. He's clearly got some wing damage, so he's got a lot of understeer heading into some of these high-speed corners. And that last little bit of an exchange there may have done Jesper in as far as his wing is concerned. He can probably finish out the race, no problem, but he is now losing time to Cameron West and Edwards. Has now dropped back 2 seconds. So Edwards made his car very wide through that exchange. It was an awesome battle that we watched for many laps. And these two, they meet up again in the closing laps. You know, Jesper runs wide coming out of that corner, as you can see in the background. So ultimately, if everything goes according to plan here in the last lap and a half, Bart Catelda, who has a 22-second lead over Killian Brady, should be your winner. Brady, who started at the back of the field due to a qualifying ban from aggressive driving in Monza, worked his way all the way up to second, led the race for a little while, but ultimately gave up some time. Benarichetti looks like he is going to finish where he started in the 3rd place position. Edwards, we saw a lot of Edwards today in that epic battle with Jesper in the Haas. Jesper has proven to be a very fast driver. Dion Stahl, he's been pretty quiet today, but he's going to have himself a good solid finish in 6th place position. Colin Higgins, didn't hear a lot from him today. He was involved in a 3-way battle earlier in the race. Ultimately, he is going to be your 7th place finisher. Sander, who got caught up in a couple of exchanges today, managed to spin his car at one point. And Joe F., he proved to be a little scrappy today with some of the other drivers. Sandro in the Ferrari, he's had a dismal second half of this race, and it looks like he's about to give up another position to the other Haas of Yannick Rapet. Yannick is all over the back of him. So we'll stick with this here for a minute, as this is about the only battle on track. Yannick should have the slot open for the DRS. Sandro did pull out a good gap on him, though, through that last series of corners. Sandro on the mediums. I'm sure they've got plenty of life left in them. See Yannick on the red banded tires. And it is official. It looks like Bart Catelda is your winner. We continue to watch this battle. Here, oh, and it goes wide. Oh, head on into the barriers. VY Gaming is done. Unbelievably tried to go wide on that last corner there. Got pushed off and head on into the barriers. So unfortunate for him. That's going to give Sandra the 10th place position. And that was an unfortunate accident on the last lap. And it just goes to show you in this series here that every position counts. They were fighting for 10th, and it ended up costing Yannick dearly here on the last lap. So we will watch Sandro come across the line. Unbelievable race, folks. A lot happened in the second half of this race for Sandro. Obviously on the last lap there. Epic battle between Cameron Weston Edwards and Jesper in the Haas. And there's Bart Catalda picking up his third win of the year, closing the championship points gap by just a little bit to Killian Brady. Killian Brady, though, still batting 1,000. He's been in 7 races this year. He's got 7 podiums, 5 of those being wins, a second place here, and a third place at Australia. Your third place finisher today was Benerichetti. And here are your official race results. Unbelievable race today. And there will be some talking, I'm sure, at the end of this race with some of the exchanges that went on track today. Some happy drivers, some unhappy drivers. We certainly appreciate you tuning in for this race. Catch us at the next race, which will be Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. I'm Kamikaze Fox. This has been SRL. We'll tune in and see you next time.